Hello, it is truly now or never the moment to do this video. I kept telling myself that I couldn't do it because I wanted to get my hair done or I wanted to look all pretty, whatever. Here I am in my gym clothes. It's now or never because girl, with a newborn baby, it truly is so complicated to just sit down for a second and do this. Like right now I'm thinking like any second she's gonna start crying. So let's see if I'm able to do this. So I'm already a little bit more than a month postpartum. I gave birth on August 13th and I wanted to share my birth story just because I feel like I had such a positive experience. So maybe I could help any girl out there that's pregnant and is scared of giving natural birth. I was one of those girls that was terrified of having a natural birth. I always said that I wanted a C-section. Like I even asked the doctor, like, please, like, can we do C-section? Like I do not want to do natural birth. I was so scared. I thought it was gonna be like this traumatic experience and that it was gonna be all, I don't know, like those movies, the girls like crying and screaming and just having a horrible time. I don't know, and just thinking of like a baby coming out of my vagina to me was like, no, cut me up and get her out while I'm sleeping. Like I did not want to do anything natural. What did I tell y'all? Give me 1 second. No. Okay, anyways, I'm back. If you hear any noises, it's her. So yeah, I basically just wanted to share about the whole thing because I feel like I could be of help to those who are scared of having natural birth. And now I'm here thinking, like, I already said that. Where did I leave off? Fudge. And I really wanted C-section. I don't know, like my mom had a C-section and just a lot of the women in my family had C-sections. So in my head, I was just like, oh, like, I'm just gonna do C-section. Like everyone has had a C-section. Like, why can't I? Because also, all of the people around me that had a C-section kept telling me, like, you're gonna have such an amazing natural birth. Like, do a natural birth. Go for it. Like, you got this. And I was like, listen, girls. Mommy. I was like, listen, girls, y'all can't talk because y'all didn't do a natural birth. So don't be telling me to have a natural birth when y'all didn't even have it. Like, what? Shh. Duty calls. You don't even meet the doctor that's going to be assisting your birth until the end. So once I actually got to meet him, he was really cool. Loved him. His name is Carlos Rodriguez. He was amazing. Even though I only met him like twice before the actual day, he was amazing. Once I got to actually meeting him, I told him, please, I want a C-section. Like, is there anything we could do? Is it like mandatory to do natural birth? Because a lot of people had told me like that apparently here in the US, you weren't allowed to pick, that you had to do natural birth, that you could only have C-section if there was some complication. So I don't know, I thought that I wasn't going to be able to. He was really nice though. He told me that no one is going to force me to do anything that I didn't want to do, that if I really didn't want to do a natural birth, he could see what he could do to help me out. But he did tell me that everything looked okay for me to do a natural birth. He told me that everything looked really good. Actually, everyone kept telling me that everything was good. My whole pregnancy, thank the Lord, was amazing. I had no complications. It was just like a breeze for me. So I don't know why I was so scared, but I was. Like the whole pregnancy, I was not worried about anything. But when I would think of that day of me just pushing and me giving birth, I would cry. I was so nervous. Oh, hello, we have other visitors. God, I feel like it's so complicated to do this video. I have so many interruptions. What? So something I should probably add here is that there are so many ways that you could prepare yourself for having birth. There are classes that you could take, courses, just watch videos. There's a lot of information out there. Like you could definitely prepare yourself for that day. But I was not one of those girls that prepared herself. So I even signed up for one of those classes. I forgot what it's called. I signed up for one of those classes that basically explained to you so many things, so much useful information that if you could go and take them, basically just what to expect when that day comes. You go with your partner and they teach your partner like also like what to do to be able to help you when that day comes, and just like breathing exercises. I don't know, I didn't take the class, so I can't really explain what they teach you there, but I signed up for the class. Point is, I didn't go. First time because I didn't wake up. Second time because I was already in my head saying that I didn't want to have a natural birth, I was gonna have a C-section. So I didn't go. I didn't prepare myself for natural birth at all. I kind of just winged it. I had this feeling inside of me that my baby was gonna come early. Don't ask me how, I just always felt that she was gonna come early. My date was supposed to be September 3rd and she was born August 13th. So inside of me, I always knew she was gonna come early, but I didn't know she was gonna come that early. So when the day that my water broke came, I was like, what? I was not expecting it to be that early. I thought it was gonna be like, I don't know, August 20th, something like that, but not August 13th. Basically, it was like a morning, like 9 in the morning, something like that. I was alone in my bed and I was having a hard time like going back to sleep. But when I was finally going into like that sleep realm, I was finally diving in, falling asleep, I did like a little movement. Like I just twisted to the side. Oh my God, girl. I just like twisted to the side and I felt a little like a pop and a splash. And I was like, oh, shoot. The first thing I think was like, oh my God, my water broke. Just because, I don't know, I was feeling it. I was feeling that whole week like something was like, I don't know, like I felt like it was gonna happen. I just didn't know it was gonna happen that day. But the first thing I thought was, oh my God, my water broke. I got up, I ran to the bathroom, sat on the toilet, and I peed. And I was like, oh my God, that was weird. Was that my water breaking? But since I was peeing and like I didn't have that whole like splash, like my water running down, like waterfall flowing kind of thing, that wasn't happening. So I was like, like maybe that wasn't it. I stood up and I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna go back to bed. But it was weird because there were like little drops of water just like coming out of my mother JJ. So I was like, I don't know, like, is this happening? I texted my boyfriend. I was like, I think my water just broke. And then nothing else happened. So I was like, you know what? I deleted that message like right away. I was like, I'm not gonna alarm anyone until I know. And I just laid down and I waited. I was waiting for my food to get there. So I was like, And then, I don't know, maybe like 10 minutes or 15 minutes passed. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get up. I got up. I noticed that the bed was like splashed like a huge puddle. And there, once I got up, yeah, my water was definitely, like my water definitely broke. There was a lot of water flowing down. And I was like, oh my God, this is it. So we made our way to the hospital. I called and let them know what was going on. And they were like, okay, come over to emergency to see if it is or if it's not. And I was like, okay, let's go. I didn't want anyone like going to the hospital with me. Like I told my parents, do not go, because I don't know if this is really happening or if it's not. Like I will let you know. So I made my way over there with my boyfriend. And my parents, of course, still went anyways without letting me know. They were down there just waiting. Something funny that happened was that they were like, I guess they were measuring my pressure, whatever. I don't know what was going on. I was super nervous. Like I was trying to keep it cool and play it like nothing's going on. But I was dying inside, okay? And the nurse looks at me. She's like, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm good. She was like, does your head hurt? Like, are you nervous? And I was like, I'm nervous. And I just started crying. Like, she's like, okay, it's okay, don't worry. And I literally felt like my vision was going black. And I was like, I have fainted before, like, so I knew that I was about to faint. And I was like, oh my God, there's no way. She was bringing me water. And I was like, oh my God, there's no way. I haven't even started this whole giving birth process yet. And I'm already about to faint. Like, God, like, man up, girl. And she gave me water and I just calmed down. Then my boyfriend started comforting me, right? And I don't know, that was just only the beginning. Like nothing had started yet. So she could basically tell on the screen that I was having contractions, but I didn't feel anything. So they asked me if I was feeling any pain and I was like, no. She was like, oh, because you're having contractions. And I was like, oh, okay. Oh, so one of the reasons that I wasn't sure if that was gonna be the date was because when my water broke in my house, I was texting a friend and she was like, oh, are you feeling any pain though? And I was like, no, I'm not feeling any pain. So I wasn't sure. Basically, In the hospital, they told me that, yeah, that I was already having contractions. I was like 2 centimeters dilated. Once they told us that, like, yeah, that it was happening, we started that process. There, they proceeded to move us to the room where I was going to be giving birth. And there, they injected me all kinds of things. Not the anesthesia yet, though, the epidural. But they did inject me something to, like, which I don't remember the name, but it was basically something to, like, get the process going and for me to actually start feeling the contractions. Once they injected that, I did start feeling the contractions almost instantly. They started off like little, like a little period cramp pain, and I was like, oh, like, this is not that bad. In my head, I thought I was gonna be one of those girls that was gonna wait it out to ask for the epidural. I was like, I'm gonna hold on as much as I can and just like take the pain as much as I can, and then at the end I'm gonna ask for the epidural. Because I don't know why in my head I thought that if you injected the epidural too early it was gonna wear off. Because look, listen, when you're pregnant everyone tells you different things, okay? So someone had told me that you should ask for it at the end, and I was like, okay, I'm not gonna ask for it too early because it's gonna wear off. And the nurses kept coming in and asking like how I was doing pain wise, and I was like, it's okay, I'm good. But I guess they could tell in my face that it was getting painful. One of the nurses came in and she told me to not wait it out, to ask for it soon, because once you ask for the epidural, the guy who injects it takes like 30 minutes to get there. And if I was having like too much contractions, I wasn't gonna be able to stay still. And you're supposed to stay still when he's injecting that in your back, because if you move, something could happen. Listen, point is, I thought I was gonna be one of those girls that was gonna wait it out, and I was like, yeah, I'm waiting, don't worry, like, don't call him yet, it's all good, everything's fine. Everything's fine. Girl, not even an hour passed of me having those contractions, and I was like, call that man. Oh, anesthesia me up, epidural me up, drug me up. Like, I did not want to feel anything, okay? If I could describe what it felt like, I saw some girls say to not even compare it to a period cramp pain because it's nothing like that. And yeah, it's 1,000 times stronger, but it does feel like a strong, for me at least, it did feel like a strong cramp here. Like, it's literally a contraction. Like, I felt like everything here contracting, and it just, like, you just tense up and it lasts, and then it goes away. But in a minute it's already back. So I was like, oh my god, like, what is going on? Like, no. So he came. When he came, I was having pretty strong contractions, so it was a little bit like annoying for him to inject it in my back. And also I was moving a lot, so it was just like, it was hard for me. But I was basically like sitting here on the corner of the bed. The nurse was in front of me, and I was basically like, I had I had my arms around her, and my head was in her chest, and then boobs, girl. Thanks, girl, your boobs were a good pillow. I just had my head here and just hugging her. She was hugging me like for support. And he would be like, okay, I'm gonna go in. And I was like, wait, I'm having a contraction. that part was traumatizing. So yeah, he injected it, but correcting myself though, only the contractions were like painful for me. After he injected the epidural, girl, I was feeling good. It was a breeze. I truly admire those girls that do it without anesthesia and without the epidural, because it hurts. But I imagine that the experience must be beautiful. I don't know. I'm taking my hat off to you girls. Congrats to you girls. Me personally, I couldn't. This girl just wants to be in mommy's arms. You're not gonna let me tell my birth story of how I birthed you, of how I brought you to the world? Once they injected the epidural, the pain went away almost instantly. I felt nothing from here down. When I tell you nothing, it's nothing. There was one leg that I could not even like lift up. It was kind of trippy. For a moment I was like, oh my god, like, what if I stay like this forever? After that, it was honestly really, really peaceful. I did not feel any pain at all. I didn't feel any contractions. But now came the waiting part. So basically, I was from 1 p.m. to 1 a.m. dilating. For since 1 p.m. to like 11 p.m., I was still in 2 centimeters. That for me was like, oh my God. That was the only annoying part, because I was like, oh my God, how long is this gonna take? Like, am I gonna be here tomorrow also dilating? It just was like, every time she would come in to check if I had dilated more, and she just kept saying that I was in 2 centimeters still, I was like, oh my God, like, there's no way that I'm not dilating. But on the bright side, the nurses were amazing. For me, I had a really positive experience in Mercy Hospital. I felt like all of the nurses, the morning ones and the night ones, were really, really nice. Treated me really, really good. I felt really comfortable. One thing that I will let y'all know, when you're in this process, you cannot eat or drink water, which for me was annoying, because towards the end of my pregnancy, I was drinking water all day, like all day, peeing all the time, and just not being able to drink water for me was like, oh my God. So I just kept asking her for a cup of ice, which I don't know what, if you ask me, like, I don't know what the difference is. So she came in again at like 1:30 a.m. or 1 a.m., something like that. And she was like, oh, you're in 9 centimeters. And I was like, what? I was already expecting her to come in and say, oh, you're still 2 centimeters, blah, blah, blah. And when she said that I was in 9 centimeters, I was like, oh my God, no way. And she was like, okay, let's get started. Let's practice, whatever. And I was like, oh my God, this is for real. But in my head, I still was anesthesiaed up. Like, I told her, I was like, nurse, girl, how am I gonna push if I can't even feel my vagina? Like, I can't feel anything going on down here. Like, how am I gonna push? I'm numb. And she was like, don't worry, we'll guide you through it. It's gonna be okay. And I was like, oh my God, okay. But I wasn't nervous. Like, after I cried, like right when I got to the hospital, when they were checking my pressure and like they heard my heartbeat and stuff, like after I did that little cry, I just relaxed for a second. One, because my mom came in before and she gave me like some nice words of encouragement. She made me cry a little bit, and I felt like I just let it out there. But she really motivated me, and I just felt like everything was good. One thing that I did throughout my whole pregnancy, and I very much did throughout that day of me giving birth and just the whole labor experience, was that I prayed a lot. And I just kept calling all my angels, praying to God, all my ancestors too. Like, I invited everyone for support, all the angels, everyone, just bringing in good energy. I feel like that really helped me a lot throughout that day, especially throughout the whole pregnancy, but throughout that day especially, because I just felt like I wasn't alone. I just felt like I was divinely guided, and it was just a really, really nice feeling. Okay, so connect, guys. The doctor came in, he checked me. Oh, I just want to say, that day they will stick a lot of fingers up your vagina. Like, be prepared for that. That wasn't comfortable, but I mean, I'm just letting y'all know how the whole thing is. But once the whole team came in, the doctor came in, he checked me, everything was good, and he was like, okay, go ahead and practice with her for a second, like, I'll be right back. And I was like, oh, again, like he's leaving again. But whatever, he left for a second, and the nurse was like, okay, let's practice. So basically, you're there with your legs like this. You're laying back, your legs like this, and they tell you, so once you get the contraction, we're gonna let you know. You're gonna breathe in, and when how was it? God, I forgot. Me trying to refresh my memory. And they told me, like, okay, we're gonna let you know when you're having a contraction. Breathe in, bring your legs back and push, and then breathe out, like the whole thing. But this was like a practice run. Okay, so we do it. They let me know that I'm having the contraction, and we get to it. I breathe in, hold my legs, start pushing. I couldn't feel anything, so I really didn't know what I was doing. I just felt, all I felt was my face like this. Basically, this was like my practice push. And already on that first push, they were like, oh, like the head's right there, like, wait. And I was like, what? Like, really? They were like, yeah, wow, that was really good. Like, you're doing such a good push. And I was like, but I don't know what I'm doing. Like, what? because they were like, keep doing that, like do that, do that. And I was like, but what am I doing? Like, what's going on? So then I pushed again. When the doctor came in, he was like, oh wow, you're doing so good. Everyone just kept telling me that I was doing so good. And I was like, thanks. I did a little bit more pushes, and through the doctor's glasses I could see like the head of my child. Like I could see the hair, and I asked him like, is the head there? Like, is that her hair? And he was like, yeah, like she's right there. And I was like, oh my god, like what is going on? I wasn't crying, I wasn't scared, I wasn't nervous, like I was just going with it. And I thought that I was going to continue pushing for a lot longer, because I did hear that people like last hours in that whole process. Oh my god. You brought the child back.
Yeah.
Ya te vas. Oh, but she's sleeping. All of a sudden the doctor's like, okay, the head's out, stop pushing. He just got her out, and I was like, stop pushing, like what? And they put her on my chest, and I was like, what? Like no freaking way. I had thought that I was gonna be one of those girls that cried when they put the baby on her, because of the whole tragic experience that I thought was going to happen. And I didn't even cry. I was so in shock that she was already on my chest that I was like, oh my god. Like it was just so much excitement and so much happiness flowing through my body that I could not feel. And I was like, oh my god, like no way, like it's you, baby girl, it's you. Like I was just really happy, really happy and surprised. And when babies come out, they do come out like a little bit hinchados. Like they don't look how they are going to look later on. They just look very like inflated. How do you say it? They look hinchados and a little bit purple. So I'm there like happy, just because I'm happy that I have my girl on me. And I'm just like, ah, my baby girl. And I look over at dad and my boyfriend to see how his face is. And he was like I thought he was gonna be happy too, but he was like, cause they look different. That's basically it. I was so in shock that it was just not anything that I thought it was going to be. So I just want to make it clear that I am talking based on my experience, which luckily, and thank God, thank the universe, I had a really good experience. Everyone has their own experience. I feel like this video came out a little bit messier than I would have liked for it to. I don't know if I got all the points clear. I'm trying my best here. So what do I feel like made my birth easier? I know that there are girls who aren't down to get the epidural, but for me personally, I feel like that made everything so much easier. It really helped me have like a smooth, painless birth. So girl, when I tell you that I did not even feel her coming out of my vagina, I did not feel her. Like I was shook when she was on my chest, because I was like, what? Like what already? Like you do not feel anything. So if you're thinking about getting it, but you're scared of the needle going in your back and stuff, don't even. It's 1 second. The actual getting it injected in your back part doesn't hurt. As I mentioned, it was the contractions that hurt. So that helped me a lot. And just like praying and just going with the flow. As I mentioned, I was not one of those girls that went to classes and overly prepared herself. Don't get me wrong, I did prepare myself. I had my bags ready weeks before. Aren't I telling you that she came early and I already had my bags early? Definitely do prepare yourself and do educate yourself. Like I'm not trying to say that I didn't know at all what I was going into. I had watched a lot of birth vlogs about that day, which is probably why I was scared too, because I did see some scary ones where the girls are just there like like yelling their hearts out. So I don't know. I think my advice is to, yes, prepare yourself, educate yourself, but also know that every experience is totally different, and what's gonna happen is gonna happen. Like whatever is meant to be will be. Do not have any expectations, because no, just go with the flow. Just trust whatever you believe in God, the universe. Everything's gonna be okay. And I promise, once you have your baby in your arms, it's like a whole other feeling. It's like, wow, like this was all worth it. And if I get pregnant again, I would 100% do natural birth, because I guess I could make a whole other video on how postpartum is, but I was able to walk right away. So yeah, I think this video got a little long, so I'm not gonna keep talking about how the whole postpartum experience has been in this video. I just wanted to share my birth experience. And here I have this huge little girl, which she's already so much bigger than how she was when I got here. Oh my god, her face, I can't. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that this helped someone, and I hope that I wasn't too messy when talking, because I am aware that it's hard for me to breathe when I make these videos, and sometimes it could be like, what is she saying? But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Mwah.